Finally, for the last talk of the night, it is my pleasure to introduce a guest speaker from the ASD community who will be presenting the talk, Resilience, Bubbles, and Watermelons. Please welcome Dr. Fadi Nasser.
Testing. Good evening. These were tough acts. They're going to be tough acts to follow. My name is Fadi Nasser. I'm here to talk to you today about resilience, bubbles, bubblegums, and watermelons. These are some of the adjectives that have been tossed around me, right? I've been called a dad, a husband, I've been called an engineer, an immigrant, I've been called a believer, a thinker, a tinkerer. I'm Lebanese, I'm Canadian, along so many other things. And today I plan over the next 9 minutes and 29 seconds to talk about my life, watermelons, and how bubbles and bubble gums come to the picture. My journey started in Lebanon, in Saida. Saida is supposedly the 7th oldest continuously inhabited city in the history of mankind, right? Right there, that city has withstood the test of time. We're talking about thousands of years. So that's resilience. That's my first exposure to resilience. And in Saida, I grew to like, love watermelons, and that's where I started to hate bubblegums. Lebanon, ladies and gentlemen, in the 70s, this was it. This was the place to be. This was a haven of love, culture, food, epic weather. This is a Mediterranean utopia. Everywhere you went, people are smiling, food above and beyond, weather year-round, second to none. This was the place to be. Unfortunately, in the mid-70s to early 80s, things came crashing down. This is when war broke out in Lebanon. It was a long stretch of dark days that moved the country from the Mediterranean euphoria that it used to be, and it was no longer the Switzerland of the Middle East. It just was a collection of pain for a lot of people. I'd like you to take a minute. If you could just close your eyes, I'd like to take you on a quick journey. Imagine this with the year's 1985. I'm a young kid. I'm sat at our dining table. My younger brother is across the table from me. This is a dimly lit room. We're studying. I got an exam tomorrow. The lights went out. Electricity just went out, and there was a strange buzzing whistle noise in the room. And then my parents comes carrying in. They whisked me and my brother out of that room. Apparently the street was on fire. The street was under attack. They ran us down into the basement, where we spent the night along with our neighbors from the building. It was only the very next day when we crawled our way back up to our first floor apartment, and that's when we understood, that's when we saw what that noise was from. There was a 30-millimeter anti-aircraft machine gun bullet that had punched a big hole in the balcony wall, went through the window, AC window that was hanging off of that wall, and that 30-millimeter bullet landed underneath that table where me and my brother were studying for the night. This is a true story. I tell you this because this was a call for resilience. There's no other option. It was time to be resilient. From that point on, it was a stretch of a few years where we were running around from one bunker to building basement, trying to duck the bullets, so to speak. But this is where watermelons and bubblegums come into the picture. See, when you're holed up in a basement for a couple of nights or a couple of days on end, the only food that you can have are fruits and veggies. And that was when I ran into my first watermelon and I fell in love with that fruit. That fruit symbolized to me sweet hope. It was sweet. Mediterranean watermelons are sweet. Unfortunately, it was also there where I ran into bubblegum. See, the parents would have this trick. Anytime the explosions outside would become louder and louder or move in closer and closer, the parents would take out a pack of bubble gums and they would blow these bubbles for their little ones, and they would pop them just as the explosions were becoming louder. It was a trick that worked well on so many kids that would giggle and laugh and fall for that toy. Not on me. Every time I saw a parent pull out the pack of gum, I knew there was more to it than that. So bubbles became a symbol of fake protection. Even today, I hate the sight and smell of bubbles and bubble gums. Fast forward to 1992, I come home, the parents share the news, we just received our clearance to immigrate to Canada. This was beautiful, this was fantastic. We're moving off to this far, far, really far away land. It's beautiful, we're gonna be away from all the nightmares and the nightly escapades to the bunkers. That's great. Canada is a beautiful country. Except the challenge is, Canada is really far, far, far away. I was being yanked out of my environment, away from my childhood friends, away from everything that I knew, to go to this, might as well be a different planet. So it was a completely different environment. But this was a call for resilience. I had to pull myself together and be resilient. I had new mountains to conquer, right? Next year I got accepted into college for computer engineering. I was the youngest in my class, and this ushered a 4-year stretch of studying and endless supply of summer jobs. But there was light at dawn. A couple of years later, I graduated. That's when the ice caps melted. I graduated and I got my first job into computer engineering. Fast forward again. I got married a couple of years later. We moved to Qatar, 3 kids onwards, and here I am in this juggling act that's called family living, right here in Qatar, right? Many of you know what I'm talking about, right? So now I have 4 more reasons to be even more resilient. Fast forward to early this week. This is when I get the call. Dad, I need you to be a speaker at TEDx. Do you mind stepping in? Look, resilience can take on many shapes and forms. It can come in a classic cliche way, you know, when you're in the middle of a war zone and you just have to pull yourself together and martial on. We talked about that. It could also come in a form when you're moving across cultures and continents, right? That's also fine. But it can also come in the form of you answering a member of the family's call for a presentation. This is what I did. That's why I'm standing right here for you. We need to switch the... Sorry, the clicker's not working. This is all part of the act. There you go. So now you might ask yourself, why am I telling you all of this, right? I'll move into the bubble syndrome. See, today in the state of living, we're so blessed. We've got this infinite supply of conveniences right at our fingertips, right? From your phones to your glasses to your car. You can order things, you can move things around the world. 10 minutes, food's delivered at your home. Fantastic. We live in these secure communities. We're blessed to be in this society. Qatar is so modern, so safe. It's fantastic. But this abundance does produce silos. This abundance does produce bubble syndrome. So what's so bad about bubbles? Well, you might have seen this before. The challenge with bubbles is that they reduce your foresight into the future. Bubbles isolate your senses and limit your perception depth to your immediate environment and to your short-term time horizons. So if you're in a bubble, while you might feel safe, sound, catered for, but all you see, all you feel is that immediate vicinity of the bubble. So if you're in a bubble and that bubble happens to be in one of these good times, your eyesight, your foresight is limited and you might not be able to catch a weakening stage that's coming at you. So then what do we do about all of this? Well, I'll tell you what we do. Don't remove the bubble. Don't remove the conveniences. You have to balance things. On one hand, you have to balance the bubbled expectations. On the other hand, the pragmatic expectations and demands of real life. Right? It's okay to venture out into the forest of uncertainties. Perfectly fine. Embrace it. Challenge yourself. Trust in yourself. It's okay to go out in the rain. Actually, check with your physician first. Some of you might not be recommended. But for me, it was okay to go out in the rain. Venture out of your comfort zone. Challenge yourself and accept the uncertainties. So whether you're moving across continents, whether you're moving across cities, across houses, across jobs, for some of you, for my kids, across schools, or you're simply moving on, it's okay. Embrace that challenge. Just keep marshaling on, keep moving on. Whether you're the youngest in your class, like I was more than 25 years ago, yeah, I had to do the math, or whether you're the oldest at work, accept the challenge, keep moving on. To keep moving up in life, pop that comfort bubble, and remember to keep filling up that resilience tank. And no better time to be topping up that resilience tank than when you're as blessed as we are here in Qatar and living in a good time. Because, drum roll, there you go. Because resilience that you gain from trials and tribulations will help you navigate to a better tomorrow. A better tomorrow where sweet symbols of hope abound. Thank you very much.